Me personally, I'm the type of person, like, once I like you or find interest in you or I'm attracted to you, I daydream our whole life together. Like, I'm so dramatic. I want this to be like High School Musical. Like, you sing to me, you fall in love with me, and I do the same to you, you know? Because once I love you, I go hard for you. Like, jail was not my life. I was so fathom on picking out my flaws that I didn't see what I brought to the table. Hey Nia babies, it's your girl Tania, and I am back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be filming a get ready with me while I overshare about my high school experience. I want to start doing like more sit down videos, like story times, or just really different type videos. I thought it would be a fun video to basically show you guys or tell you guys the stuff that I've been through, because I've been through some crazy stuff. And I am in the bathroom, as you can tell, so if you guys hear my toilet, I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on with it. We just gonna have to ignore it and go with the flow, because we need this video to be out and I still want to talk to you guys. So I have a list of things that I want to go over, or topics I want to go over. I even wrote like little names and stuff like that. Y'all, I was just having really fun with this idea, so let's get straight into this video. First topic, I was so excited about writing these names, but I named this topic Love's Island. So this is me getting into high school, trying to find love. So yeah, let's talk about Love's Island. So like I said, I got into high school. I was a freshman and I was so like worried about how high school would be. I remember like watching YouTube videos and trying to find like pictures and videos of how my school would look on the inside, or like if anybody would like film like YouTube videos of my school, so that way I would just be prepared, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. The middle school days for me was horrible, so I was just trying to see what would high school be like. While watching movies, I always saw how people would get boyfriends, and this is what brought my attention into having like a boyfriend. I've never had a boyfriend. I was always very scared of commitment because my dad has not been in my life, so when he did leave, it was just hard for me to open up to anybody in general, but specifically boys. I've never had a boyfriend. I've just always been scared to have one, and my family will always tell me you're gonna find your high school sweetheart when you get a little bit older. So I'm like, okay, I'm in high school, like, you know, what's good. I had a horrible experience because boys are boys and they're childish, and high school boys are not the best. So my first experience started off when I really liked this guy. He was like one of the little pretty boys, and I always had an eye for this guy. So one day, my first friend that I ever made, I told her about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like he is so cute. Like I really feel like I like him. Like he's so cute. I would love to talk about him. Talk to him. Not talk about him. What's going on? Me personally, I'm the type of person, like, once I like you or find interest in you or I'm attracted to you, I daydream our whole life together. Like, I'm so dramatic. So I'm over here daydreaming our life together, like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Like, oh my gosh. So I'm just thinking about him, dreaming about him, like, girl, you don't even know this man. Then the next day I come to school and she's like, Tania, I told him that you like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Because to me, I have always felt like that is childish for like one of your friends to go up and tell a guy that you like them, or like for someone to get the plug. That's how we used to say it. We used to be like, oh, can you give me the plug with so-and-so or stuff like that. Like, that was so childish to me. It has always been childish to me, and if I ever said that, I probably was on some other stuff. So yeah, she was basically just saying that she told him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like why would she do that? So I'm a little bit upset because I'm like, bro, she literally told him, like, although I didn't have enough guts to tell him myself and I was just gonna like secretly crush on him and think he's cute, I still didn't want him to know. Like I did not want him to know. I was not ready for that, because once someone knows that you have a crush on them, all their friends know. They're gonna stare at you in the hallway. Like I said, boys are childish, so they're gonna be like, oh, that's her, bro, that's her. Like, no. I also didn't have confidence back then. I really disliked my looks a lot, so like I just was never confident enough to do anything, but specifically go up to no guy, because No. So after she told me and I was a little bit upset, she said, y'all, I kid you not, she said, he told me that you were ugly. When she told me that, I literally was like, are you serious? I'm like, are you serious? He was like, yes. He said that you were ugly. That is what happened to crush number one. And I was very sad. I just was like, dang, like, he straight up said she's ugly. Straight up, like, straight up said she's ugly. And then over time, we became friends, and I actually got to know him, and he was really cool, and I did not like him at all. And he was not the guy for me, obviously. This is the time where I was madly in love with this football player. If you watch my videos and you used to go to my school with me, or our school, or we went to school together, you know what I'm trying to say. So it was this guy, we're gonna call him Peaches. So me and Peaches literally had 3 classes together our freshman year, and then our sophomore year we also had like a couple classes together as well. So we always seen each other all the time. Not only did we have 3 classes, but they were back to back. And mind you, like in high school, you will depend on what school you go to, because I have went to another school in Florida that had, like, if you had classes with people, no matter what hour or period you were in, it was with the same people. But here in Michigan, we literally don't see the same people in our class. Like, it's very rare almost for us to see the same people. I started crushing on this guy. He is a dark skin, oh man, I love my black men. I love my black men. I just was very attracted to him. He will always say these corny jokes, and I would literally be the only one that be laughing. So eventually people started to catch on, like, oh, she likes him, because he was not funny at all, y'all. He was so cringy, like the most cringiest person I have ever met in my life. And that's just no shade, but it's just true. He knows that though. Me and Peaches would always talk to each other in class, and eventually we got really close. But the thing about Peaches is that he would mess with my friends. This girl that I knew her from her god sister. She actually was talking to Peaches before me and her started like to be friends, and after they like stopped really talking, and then that's when me and her became friends, and that's when I started to have a crush on Peaches. She never told me that they had a thing until after the fact, if I'm not mistaken though. If I'm not mistaken, because that was like a minute ago, so I don't really remember. Peaches liked to get around. Like, he was a football player. He loved to get around. I remember the first day of school, I got his Snapchat and we would text and stuff like that. When I got a crush on him, we would text like almost all the time. I always felt like he had a crush on me until I realized that he was just playing me. And let me tell y'all why. So Peaches also messed with my other friend and my other friend. I had a best friend at the time, and she had this beautiful shape that I was very, very jealous of. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was so jealous of her shape. It was like very gorgeous. So a lot of the boys would always like compliment her on it, and Peaches complimented her on it one day. And I remember walking into class, and my best friend knew that I had a crush on him, but like, it's not much that she can do. When someone compliments you, it's not like you can do much, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's your crush, like, it's not that you can do much. I was just so sad, because I'm like, bro, I don't have nothing to offer, nothing to put to the table. And I remember her laughing with him, and he was touching her waist, and then I'm like, yeah, no, because you know that I have a crush on him, so like, why would you do that? It's okay if he compliments you, because it's like you weren't feeling for a compliment from him. Compliments happen, but then when you're egging it on, I'm like, what? So that was one friend of mine. And then another friend that I had, she knew that I like him as well, and basically PG-13, just to let y'all know. As me and Peaches was flirting with each other frequently, I just continued to fall head over heels for this guy. I thought that he really, really was interested in me. And then one day I came into class and I found out that my friend, who rides the same bus as him, actually got fingered by him. I'm just as disgusted as you are. So I was literally sad, and I remember him having previous girlfriends as well, like throughout me crushing on him. And he would always come to me and talk to me about like his problems and stuff, and I would be there for him. But I always had this really big crush on him, and I always thought that he felt the same exact way. But one day I just got fed up with him still flirting with me and still doing all that stuff, but like not really liking me. And y'all, I kid you not, I asked him, I said, why are you like just playing in my face? And he was like, I would just never date you, you're too crazy for me. But I understand now. I'm like, did you really have to play in my face though? Like, you did not have to do that. So that was Miss Lover Peach for me. And then the last love story I have for you guys is my first heartbreak, other than my dad breaking my heart, but that is not a story that we will ever discuss. So my first heartbreak with someone I barely dated. It all happened when I was 14 and he was 15. Mind you guys, I'm still over here trying to look for some sort of love, some sort of comfort, because I'm like, I want this to be like High School Musical. Like, you sing to me, you fall in love with me, and I do the same to you, you know? I rode this bus with this guy and I just remember him complimenting me to my sister while I was absent one day. Me being my naive, I fell for it because I was just like, a boy likes me. Like, at this point, I got played left and right. Like, finally a boy has been laid in my hands. I got head over heels from this guy. I'm telling you guys, like, and it's sad to say, but like any love or like anything that was thrown my way, I would just catch it and be so happy for it. But now I know my worth, and it's like, not everything is genuine, not everything is good. You just gotta know your worth, because if not, the world is a dangerous place and people will step over you, whether that's friendships, relationships, any type of ships. You just need to make sure you have that backbone. So then he got my Snapchat. This guy did not even text me. I texted him and we kicked it from there, and it was so awkward. Like, you know when you're in elementary school and like you're dating someone but you walk past them like you aren't talking to them at all, like you don't know that person? That's how it was for us. Like, I remember walking in the hallways, I never spoke to him. It would be sometimes where I wouldn't even want to get on the bus because I would try to avoid him because I know it would be awkward. We never really talked. We only talked at home when we FaceTime each other and we'll fall asleep on the phone. But like, that was, no, it was not a real relationship whatsoever. So I remember the summer of my freshman year, before summer even touched down, he actually broke up with me, and he was basically just saying like, oh, I just don't think I'm a good boyfriend for you, yada yada. Like, I just don't feel like I'm just, you know, the one for you. So I'm over here like, I literally just remember telling him okay, like straight up okay. I was a little savage, but I literally said okay. And then I remember being so sad to the point where like, you could see it. I had to go to school for 3 weeks and ride the bus with him for 3 weeks after that, and it was just really awkward still. Eventually I got over it, so I thought. So sophomore year comes, and me and my really close friend at the time, she also had an ex that she was like really head over heels for. So basically me and her would like always see our exes and we would take pictures of them. So if I saw her ex, I would be like, oh, here's so and so. And then if she saw my ex, I would be like, oh, here is so and so. Or she would be like, oh, here's so and so. So we were just still like head over heels for these guys. I remember hearing that he had a girlfriend over the summer, which comes into play, and I was so sad about it, but they broke up. So I'm like, oh, it's fine, you know. And I still follow him on his social medias, which I don't recommend. Like, that, if you need to heal, you need to heal, and no contact, no nothing. So I still follow him on his social medias, and I remember him posting a thing saying, I want my girl back. And then he was talking to one of the people that I was close with at the time that was a guy, because it was like we all shared the same friend group. So he was talking to him and he was basically saying like, you know who I miss, in front of everybody. And they were like, what? And he was like, I miss Janelle. When the guy friend told me about it, I'm just over here like, oh, like he misses me, like of course, who didn't miss me? But I missed him as well. So my childish self, because I had a spam, we all had a spam back then, I still have one, it's called Nia Camera Roll. So I remember posting on my spam like, now is your time to speak up, like this message and I'll text you for you to let stuff off your chest. So he liked it and I was so excited. I'm like, okay, I could finally talk to him. Mind you, this is my second time reaching out to him. Like, if you really missed me, then you would do what you need to do, but you didn't. So you were just sad because you and what's the name broke up. So I was just like the rebound. Let's be honest, let's be real. That happened and he was just basically like expressing how sorry he was and how he messed up and stuff. So instead of me just being like, boy bye. No, I was like, it's okay and stuff like that. And I took him back. He didn't even have to break a sweat for it too. Like, at least if you go take him back, make him like think about what he did and make him go through the consequences. I took him back, and y'all, I kid you not, this guy was still thinking about his ex, still texting her, still following her on Instagram, like just overly analyzing her. I remember walking in the hallways and I would see him look at her and I would see him wave at her, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And like I said, at that time I was so insecure that I just always felt ugly. I also was his first black girlfriend that he ever dated or ever had, so like he always dated like white girls. So for me, it touched me because his ex was a foreign girl, and a lot of black men would choose a foreign girl over a black woman, and that's just facts. And in my high school, like if you were not foreign with long hair and makeup and Fashion Nova clothes, I'm literally describing his ex right now, but seriously, like if you wasn't like that, then you weren't pretty. I remember they made a list of the prettiest girls in school, and it was all white girls or Hispanic girls. It was no black girls. It just was really hard. It really sucked. So whenever I saw that, like I would just get really sad. And I remember hating myself so much to the point where I would try to like dress like her, and I would try to buy stuff from Fashion Nova knowing I did not have none of the funds or money for it. I remember trying to wear hoops and just trying to like basically catch his attention because all he looked at was her instead of me. Well, again, he broke up with me. I remember everybody like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, why? Not everybody, but like just the people around me. It seemed like a lot of people at that time, but people be in your business, so who knows. They was just like all in our business and saying like what happened and stuff like that. I just remember being really sad. I remember being really sad, and this was in 2019, so that happened for like a whole year, and then it came to my junior year and his senior year. And I remember still trying to get over it. In my first week of school, when I saw him, I was so like in shock and just like, wow, that's him, because I haven't heard from him or seen him. I only still follow him on the spam. Then I found out he was with the girl, the ex, that I literally admired. So that crushed me, but eventually I got over it, and here I am today. That was Love's Island era. We don't really like her. We don't really appreciate her that much. But the next era that we're gonna get into is Drama Queen, because okay, so I had to summarize this passage because I've gotten into a lot of conflict, and if I would tell a story time for each and every one of them, we would be sitting here for about a day, okay? Remember the best friend that I told you guys about? I would always fight for her or fight for my close friends, or I would always just be fighting for my sister. Like, I would never ever get into an altercation for myself. Like, it will always be for the people around me, because the privilege that people have once I love them is up here, okay? It's really high, because once I love you, I go hard for you. Like, I'm telling you, hard for you. And a lot of people don't understand that, because I'm a very nice person. I am. But one thing I don't play about is the people that I love. And I be trying to tell people on a serious, not bragging level, that it gets real. It gets real, okay? All the altercations I got into was for everyone else but myself. I'm telling y'all, it's literally crazy. And I feel like that's the reason why now I'm not in no drama. I haven't gotten into a fight or anything like that. And I feel like it's because I protected my peace. I let those people go, and I'm evolving now, and I'm with myself. And a lot of the stuff that I would fight somebody for back in the day, it's just not worth it no more. Plus, I'm gonna go to jail. I don't have time for that. Jail is not my life. It will never be my life, and it will never be for me. So a lot of the times I will walk around like my shit don't stink. I had this very big attitude. Every single time I bring it up, some people would say, oh, like, you didn't have an attitude, you were so nice. And some people were like, yeah, you had an attitude. But me personally, I just feel like I walked around with a nasty attitude. Now that I look back, I don't like that. So I remember the best friend that I had at the time, she was very different. She was more settled. She did help me with staying calm or not like interacting with negativity, because she would always calm me down, but I'll always cuss her out for it as well. It was so horrible. And she was just a person who didn't really get involved into conflict, so anytime someone did like mess with her or anything like that, I was there. And I remember one time this girl decided she wanted to mess with her. I told my teacher, I said, hold on, I'll be right back real quick. Literally walked out of class and I went to lunch because I didn't have the girls' lunch. So I walked out my class and I went to her lunch. And I walked up to her, I said, so I heard you was messing with my best friend. And she just was playing dumb. Mind you, my sister had this lunch, but I did not have time to go meet up with my sister and tell her how I'm about to slap this girl in the face. Like, I just did it. But people knew that we were sisters. So like anytime they would see me go hard, they would get her or they would tell her about it afterwards. So I'm telling the girl, I'm like, well, let's fight. Like, let's fight. Because now you over here acting scary, saying you didn't do this, you didn't do that. So let's fight. And she was just confused. Like, she was like, I don't want to fight you. Like, I don't want to fight you. But mind you, this girl has been messing with my best friend, like, a lot. Eventually, she did not want to fight. I walked away because it's like, it's no sense of going back and forth. I told you, let's fight. You didn't want to do it. I'm not about to force you to fight, because then that wouldn't be a fight. So that was a situation itself. I also remember that I was about to get jumped one day. Well, let me not say jump, but that's how it felt. That's literally how it felt. Another one of my friends at the time had this altercation with these girls, and I remember her crying about it. Like, she was just crying about it. And I don't like to see the people that I care about cry about, you know, just people messing with them. And I also really don't like bullies. I was one myself until the script got flipped on me, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, God is really showing me. So ever since then, like, I just never liked bullies. And regardless if you were my friend or not, if someone was bullying you while I was right there, oh, I'm going to stand up for you, because that's just not cool. I've been bullied. I've been the bully. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. And I guarantee, because my mama didn't raise no bully, so I guarantee their parents didn't raise one either. Yeah, I remember her just crying because they were just basically bullying her. And this was a group of girls, so it was like 4 girls, I believe. I remember walking into a bathroom and it was all of them. And they already knew, like, I was kicking it with my friends, so my friends put me on to what they've been doing or whatever. And my friends don't mess with you and they saying that you're bullying them, girl, no, we're not cool. So all I see is them like coming out the stalls, looking at me, and I don't really talk about my fighting life because it's like not something I'm proud of. It's really personal for me. But my first fight that I ever been in, I was 10 and I got jumped because the girl who jumped me, she was 16, and she jumped me because her niece that I fought for my cousin said that I broke her nose, but I made her nose bleed. So she jumped me with her and her brother. So I'm over here like, I'm about to get into a fight. I'm probably about to get jumped, but it is what it is. I'm gonna hold my own, because that's always what my mom has told me, is to hold my own. That's exactly what I did. So I went in there, I see them. I'm still gonna use the bathroom, wash my hands, do what I have to do. I don't care. Like I said, they was just grinning me. So I'm like, okay. So I asked them, I said, what we gonna do? Do we have a problem? They like, no. So then it got into the hallway and I'm just like what's up? Like, so everybody's staring at us at this point. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news or to make a scene. Like, I just don't like that. But I always felt myself making a scene. Especially in these situations, because I hate when people try to act like something that they're not, and then when it's time to actually be about what you talk about, they don't be on none of that. Then when I realized they didn't want to fight, I'm just like, I'm not about to keep wasting my time. That was that situation. It was also another situation where the best friend that I had became one of my frenemies. And that situation was so rough because I remember me and her falling out, and basically I unfriended her. She was a lot at that time. Now that I think about it, I wish that it was in a more nicer way, because she was a very sweet girl and she did a lot for me to be so rude to her all the time. I just felt like I couldn't be the best friend with me being so angry, you know? She basically told everybody my secrets and what was happening in my family and things I opened up to her about. and I was so livid, but I didn't even do anything. I literally just was like, whenever someone would bring her up and say she was talking about me, I would either say like okay, or I would just not say anything at all, because people like to twist words. They just turn it into something else that they shouldn't be. And I remember being in class, and me and her got into it over something. I forgot what it was, and she was basically trying to show out and just have an attitude in front of everybody, and I was very embarrassed. So I walked out of the classroom to calm down, called my mom, because my mom is my best friend and she's literally the only person that can calm me down, her or Tian. So yeah, I called her and stuff, and then she made a rumor about making me cry because she checked me, so I ran out the classroom and cried. So that rumor went around, and it was just a lot. Like, it was a lot that she said and did, and I'm like, and maybe most of the stuff people really made up. Like, you really never know with high schoolers, but that was the drama queen moment, and I highly would not recommend. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna talk about confidence and finding myself. So like I said, in high school I really hated myself. Like, I did not like the way I looked. I had a lot of like acne. I never knew how to slick my hair properly until like the end of sophomore year, so I would walk around with my hair like very poofy. I also was dating someone who just made me feel like I had to be white or Hispanic, because if not that, then I'm just ugly, you know? And I remember it would be times where this guy told me, he literally told me, he said, "You know, you would look so much better if you didn't smile so hard, because when you smile so hard, you look really stupid." And he said, "You also would look so much better without acne." I remember sitting in the classroom, and when he said that, it was a whole bunch of boys around. And like I said, boys are so much immature, so they were literally just laughing when he said that. And me, I was just sad. I couldn't say nothing because I had all this acne on my face, and it makes me so sad, because like I would look back at my old Snapchat memories and I would be like, girl, you were so pretty, yet you hated yourself at that moment in time. Like, it's so sad. And it was rough. And I remember my crush, the football player, he would make fun of my legs because they were very skinny. So he would call me like a hot dog or a stick, or, they would say that thing like, "Oh, I bet you if we do anything to her, she's gonna break easily," or stuff like that. I didn't love myself. I didn't like my hair. I didn't like my smile. I didn't like my face. I didn't like the way my legs were built. Like, I did not like myself. I also was very insecure with my color. I felt like I should have been lighter. And whenever, the guys did say that I was lighter, or like I was a light bright, it made me happy, because if you aren't a specific light, then you're not pretty, And that's sad. Like, that is so sad, because all shades are so beautiful. And the thing about being a woman of color is that we come in all shades. Like, do you realize how unique we are? I remember my stepdad, even at the time, he was even telling me how this one girl that I thought was prettier than me, which was my ex, the one I was talking about earlier, I remember him telling me, "Well, she is prettier than you because she's foreign and you're black." I kid you guys not. So I grew up, or at least in that era of mine, I grew up not really appreciating myself, and I was so fathom on picking out my flaws that I didn't see what I brought to the table. You are a whole package. You are a baddie. And all of the stuff that broke me really created me, because I got expelled for fighting, and on my old channel I did a whole story time about it. It's a sensitive topic. I don't think I would ever do a story time ever again, but I basically fought a police officer when I was 16, and I got arrested. I was on probation. I had to take therapy for 3 years. That anger moment that brought me hell and made me go through things that I never thought I would go through also brought me glory. And it was part of my testimony, and is part of my testimony, let me say that. After I got out of school, I really just started focusing on me and focusing on bettering myself and my anger. Therapy helped me a lot at the time. I started to lose friends, and I realized that the friends that I thought were for me just weren't really for me. I felt left out and disincluded, and I didn't really like the things that they were doing or the drama that they would bring to the table or the way I would act when I was around them, which wasn't necessarily their fault. It's more so mine, because you always gotta stay true to yourself. Jesus walked around with sinners. He hung out with sinners, but then at the end of the day, he was still Jesus. So I had no excuse. That happened. And love started to come in. I met Tian. We fell in love. I remember just trying to juggle everything. I worked on self-love. Tian helped me a lot with that. It would be times where we would stay up on the phone, and anytime I felt ugly, he would drop whatever he's doing to pick up the phone and say, okay, 5 questions. This, and that. Why do you feel ugly? This, and that. Like, just would make me so happy. I always try to tell him, at least, that he is part of the reason why I love myself now the way that I do, the way that I have worth now, and I'm so grateful for him. If anything, he is my best friend. So I say this all to say that high school or school itself was hell for me, but I found myself. I found me. Caught my eye. How do you say that? Oh, sorry. My crush, hold on now. I didn't hate. Hold on. What's going on with my words? Oh my gosh, I need to stop looking at the viewfinder. I'm debating, like, should I put it back or like, should I just challenge myself not to look at it? Okay, listen. We're gonna challenge ourselves not to look at it. No, I know I'm not gonna be able to do that.